Good morning. As Warren said, my name is Clark Roberts. I'll introduce myself a little bit more in a minute. But that four-legged pretty friend, her name is Aurelia. You can remember her name by the fact that she is a really good girl. She is almost 9 years old. She is a working guide dog. She's a golden retriever, Labrador cross, and there are 4 things that you need to remember. I'm going to use it at a real quick educational moment. Number 1, you do not feed her unless you ask me. You do not give her water unless you ask me. You do not touch her harness handle at all. You have been not instructed on how to drive her. And number 4, you do not pet her and you ask me. Okay? If you will remember those for me, hopefully, prayerfully, you will remember them for any individual that you interact with that has a working guide dog. Okay? As Warren said, my name is Clark Roberts. I run a nonprofit corporation. I am a husband. I am a father. I am a grandfather. I'm also an outdoor adventurer. I love to bike ride. I love to water ski. I love to snow ski. That trip that Warren was talking about, that sounds exciting. But I also love life. Okay? Oh, yeah. And I'm also blind. So this morning, here's the interesting thing about my title of my presentation from a blind guy. What you see is what you get. And if my eyes kind of wander around a little bit involuntarily, I'm sorry. I really don't have a whole lot of control over those, but God does. So, this morning, as all of you were wandering into Camp Sambika, interacting with each other, and as I look out in this room this morning, I don't see men, but I see individuals who have potential, who have talents, who have gifts, who are loved, who are worthy, and that God wants to use for Him as He takes you wherever He takes you, whatever you do and whoever you are with, okay? This morning we're going to go back in time a ways to the beginning, 50 years ago. 50 years ago, okay? But before we go there, I need you to do this for me. I need you to close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes. And as your eyes are closed, I want you to think about all of the things that you enjoy doing. Your sports, your music, your hobbies, your career, everything. And then a doctor steps into your world and tells you that within the next 15 years, you're going to be totally blind. Nothing that you can do to change or to alter the course other than to accept it or to reject it. What will you do? You may now open your eyes. 50 years ago, I sat in a doctor's office in Pullman, Washington, with all of my dreams in front of me, all of my adventures, all of the people that I figured that I would go meet. I would graduate from college in maybe 4, maybe 5 years tops. Life was exciting. Life was adventuresome. But it was about to be rearranged. I would sit in that doctor's office and wait for him to come in. He would come in and drop a thick folder on his desk and startle me because I was sitting there kind of daydreaming. He says, "Hi, Clark." Engaged me in a little bit of small talk, and then he leaned back in his chair and he says, "Clark," he says, "I've looked at these tests backwards and forwards in any other way that I can look at them, and I come up with one conclusion. Yeah. He says, Clark, he says, I've looked at them every way that I can, and it is totally, completely conclusive, and my insides are about to explode. Would you please hurry up and let me know what is going on? He would then say, Clark, he says, you have a disease known as retinitis pigmentosa, and you're going blind. Excuse me? What did you just say? You have retinitis pigmentosa and you are going blind. Whoa. For the next 45 minutes, I listened, but I didn't listen because I didn't want to listen. I got mad, frustrated, angry, scared, and wondering, would I have a life? Leaving Pullman, driving the 8 short miles back to Moscow, Idaho, to the university, I asked these questions internally. Would I, could I, should I, and how? Before I knew it, the car was stopped in front of my door, and I got out, and I slammed the door, and I climbed 3 flights of stairs up to the 3rd floor. Entering the 3rd floor, it was dark and empty, because everybody was either in their room studying or at the library. I went to my room and entered a dark, empty room. I tore off my coat and I threw it in a corner, and I went and I sat on my dormitory floor bawling like a baby. As I sat there bawling on the floor like a baby, the question that was running through me was, should I have a life? Or would I have a life? Because you see, all that I knew about blindness of blind people was they didn't get to have a life. They got to exist. And I'm thinking, God, if that's all that's left, I'm done. I'm checking out. As I sat there on my floor bawling like a baby, there was 2 things that I remembered that had been given to me by my mom when I left for college that fall. One of them says this: trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. Trust you, God? You're going to make it all okay? The other one says this: I know the plans that I have for you, Clark. Not to harm you, but to prosper you and to give you a hope and a future. How can you say that, God, when you just told me through a doctor that I am going blind? Clark, you have a choice to make. You're either going to throw it away or you're going to walk with me. Okay, that was first choice. If I walk with you, God, as a man, what are we going to do? Where are we going? You see, I thought that everything was over, especially my skis. I had been an avid downhill skier since I was 9, and I'm thinking, okay, fine. A year later, my wonderful, loving sister comes busting through the back door of our home going, Clark, guess what I found out today? What's this? There's an instructor up at Bogus Base, and he can teach you how to ski with your eyes closed if you really, truly want to listen. You went skiing today, didn't you? Oh, I did. There was 4 inches of fresh snow. It was a blue sky day, and it was awesome. Did you fall? Well, maybe once or twice, because you see, I thought she'd fall and hit her head, and she's now a little whacked. Saturday came, we did what we normally do. We loaded the car, we went to Bogus, we skied all day, and at the end of the day, she ambushed me. You want to meet Jack? No, I don't want to meet Jack. I don't want anything to do with Jack. Well, I realized real quickly we weren't going home until I met Jack. Went in and met Jack, talked to him. He says, Clark, he says, here's what I can do for you. I can teach you if you want to learn. Choice number 2. What do you do when things are dumped in your lap? He says, Clark, he says, it's going to take 5 private lessons. You pay for the first one and the next 4 are on me. Wow. You're going to do that for me? Okay, let's do this. I did. It works. And I'm starting to get excited right now because it's getting cold. The snow is starting to fall in the mountains, and it's calling my name to go play in God's creation. Because you see, first of all, I chose to keep living. Every single moment of every single day, I trust my God as we walk hand in hand. Because you see, I chose to live. What are you choosing to do with the life that God has given to you? Moving forward, 1990. I'm walking through the lobby of a church that I'm attending in North Seattle. My good friend Lauren comes up and he taps me on the elbow and he says, Clark, he says, walk with me. Okay. As we're walking through the lobby, Lauren says, Clark, you know I'm a speech and drama teacher over at the local high school from where you live. I said, yeah. He says, how about you come talk to my students, my speech and drama students, about living life without one of the senses? I could do that. Went in and did it for my friend Lauren. Want to come back next semester? Sure, I can do that. After I did that, he says, Clark, he says, how about if you come back next fall? And he says, I might even be able to pay you some dollars. Cool. I get to come speak. You put money in my pocket. I like all of this. And it wasn't very long after that my phone started ringing. People from different schools wanted to have me come speak. Youth groups and churches wanted to have me come speak. And a cousin of mine said, Clark, you're backing yourself into a speaking business. What? You know that people get to travel around the country and get paid to share their story, and you need to share yours. Wow. Okay. So I did that, and I was a great, wonderful bachelor, having a great time, living in Bellevue. But God had other ideas for my life. God decided that my life was a little boring and needed some spicing up. So he dropped a beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed lady in my lap with a 9-year-old son. And you're all asking me, how in the world did I meet her? Well, I met her on a blind date. And every date since has been a blind date, folks. 24 years. On our very first date, we're sitting across the table from each other at Spud's, Kirkland, getting to know each other, because we've been having 2-minute conversations on the phone from where she worked, at Cold Creek Chapel in Bellevue. Having conversation, and I go, could you be comfortable living the rest of your life with a blind man? She answers the question. 5 minutes later, maybe not close to that, but 3-4 minutes later, I asked the same question again. And she says, excuse me, I already answered that one. The real question is, can you live the rest of your life comfortably with a blonde? I said, okay, point taken, slapped the table, leaned back, and gave out a great big belly laugh and going, all right. But you see, there was a reason why that question was important to be asked. If the relationship was going to be honest and moving forward. I had been married for 4 years previous. An individual who told me to my face that she had accepted me as someone who was blind. But really, she hadn't accepted a man in her life as someone who was blind. And it caused a whole lot of issues. So in this situation, I wanted to be completely certain. Once again, trusting God. Trusting God that He would show me what He wanted to do. Come April, will be 24 years that she and I have been together. We have 2 kids and 2 precious granddaughters. But it comes from trusting God and not throwing it away and allowing me to be used anywhere and everywhere that He decides to take me. Warren gave me a little plaque this morning of appreciation. And interestingly enough, because God doesn't do things coincidentally. The verse that I've been looking at the last day or two to bring to you guys as I talk about what you see is what you get. It comes from Hebrews. Keep your eyes fixed upon Jesus, the author and the perfecter of your faith. Faith is something, guys, that we don't get to see. But it comes by choosing to walk with Him each and every single moment of every single day, keeping your eyes fixed upon Him as He decides to give you the strength and the grace. When my wife and I got married, I became an instant dad. And I'm thinking, oh, great. What have I gotten myself into? Can I, as someone who cannot see, fulfill the role of a father? Can I be who my son needs? Here's the interesting thing about being a father. Whether you can or cannot see, be there, show up, listen, and pray for them. My son and I have had many opportunities to go to the mountain and ski. I taught him how to ski. He's never guided for me, thank goodness. He's had on the front of my tandem bike for many, many miles, including the STP that we completed one time in a single day. Close encounter. We have had a lot of other adventures, good and bad. And then there's my daughter, who I've had the blessing of being home with when she was 3 months old up to the time that she started school. Try that with your eyes closed, guys. Diapers included. Yeah. I could tell you a few stories, but I won't go there. God is good. And He gives you everything that you need for every single moment of every single day. And it doesn't matter if you can see or cannot see. Because as I started this morning, I said that I don't see you physically. I see you here. The way that God sees you. Men who are valued. Men who are worthy. Men who have gifts, talents, and abilities. I don't have a lot of mechanical skills. That's okay. I can take it apart. I think there's a few of you know what I'm saying. There are some things that I cannot do. But it was stated to my wife a couple months ago, in and through our business. Those things that physically that I can't do from a physical, visual standpoint are not my wife's responsibilities. So in this case, guys, they're not all of our responsibilities for every single moment of every single day. It's okay if you're not able to do everything. Don't set yourself up for failure when you don't have to be set up for that. Be used by God. Use your talents. Use your abilities. Use your life so that God might be honored. God might be praised in every single aspect of every single day. Keep your eyes fixed upon Jesus, the author and the perfecter of your faith. He doesn't call us to be perfect. He calls us to an understanding of allowing Him to perfect us. He's also calling you and me to remember that life, every single day is a gift. And when the gift is given to you, unwrap it, cherish it, and share it. Wherever you go, whatever you do, and whoever you are with, take your gift and share it and be the best impact player that you can be today.